everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today we're going to be reviewing Through Our Teeth by Pamela Harris. This was a gift to me from the publisher. It's not something I normally pick up because I don't normally pick up a lot of contemporary fiction. I like sci-fi, fantasy, horror. That's kind of like my shtick. So I'm always really, really impressed when I do, step out of my comfort zone and pick up something that's more contemporary. Now, this is a contemporary mystery thriller. And it has kind of a escape room kind of vibe. So you're following three girls. Kizzy, Liv is your main point of view first and foremost, but you have her and her two friends, Kizzy and Cherie, and they kind of lure Golden Boy, future NBA star Brandon, to this house because they are convinced that he killed their friend Hope. There were, allegations of domestic abuse that were never really investigated. So they are gonna take justice into their own hands. Now, when his homeboys come by looking for him at this fancy, smart house that Liv's mom is renovating, that, still not even on the grid yet, phone-wise, like there's no Wi-Fi, when the power goes out, all of their phones go out, right? And when the power goes out, the house that was built as like a panic room goes into lockdown. So now they're all trapped. And someone is killing them one by one. And it's all connected to Hope. It's all connected to this girl who died, fell off of her roof. This roof that she was always sitting on all the time. So, not accidental. There's no way it could have been accidental. She was always on this roof. So did she fall or was she pushed? The common theory is she killed herself, but especially because she did have a history of mental illness and depression. But did she really? So here starts the unraveling of this friend group. Friend, quote unquote, because they're all kind of like frenemies. Here starts the unraveling of the friend group here, because someone's starting to kill them, and when they discover a room full of Hope memorabilia and photos of all of them, they all realize, wow, this was a trap set up by someone else. Now, was it set up by someone in this group, or was it set up by someone else who was watching this group? How do they know? There's a lot of tension in the novel. There's definitely a whole lot of tension as the novel continues to develop, and it's not just linear. It goes back to Liv remembering her relationship with Hope, remembering her relationship with Brandon, because they were like the three, their friend group. And then everyone else was just like another extension of their friend group. It was always Liv, Hope, and Brandon. And then Hope and Brandon started dating. And there are, of course, feels between Liv and Brandon that she still has feelings for him. But it's complicated now because it's like, well, you dated my best friend. You potentially may have abused my best friend, and you might have murdered my best friend. But I still have feelings for you. So there's a lot of tension in the novel, especially as we're going deeper and uncovering a lot of Hope's secrets, because she had her own secrets with all of the people in this friend group. She had her own secrets. Was she really a victim? Was she not a victim? What do you believe? As the story is progressing, more and more secrets about the friend group themselves are coming to light, and also more and more secrets that Hope kept to herself were coming to light. And there's a lot of nuances with the book, dealing with domestic abuse and, domestic violence and grief and also mental illness. And I do love books that do deal with mental illness, but there's also nuances with believing, like there's such a problem, and that's why the Me Too movement was such like a big thing. There's such a problem with still women making allegations or women not feeling comfortable, whether they're a woman of color or not. Being a woman of color just makes it harder for you to be believed, unfortunately. But these characters, you know, they see that. They're like, no, we're colored girls. We're black girls. We're not going to be believed. We have to take this into our own hands. They don't believe that Hope, who did struggle with depression, they don't believe that she would have killed herself. And as the novel progresses, Liv is an unreliable narrator because she doesn't know everything. And also, she has her own feelings for Brandon. And she has her own secrets, and she suffers from anxiety and panic attacks. So, what is true, what is not true? You kind of second guess everything that these characters are saying, and you kind of start second guessing Hope. Because there are some scenes where you're just like, well, okay, when she acts like this, maybe she didn't kill herself. But then she acts other ways, and you're like, okay, maybe she did. But then you see Brandon, and the way he interacts, you know, very much, they're all kind of manipulators in their own way. In this book, and I think that that's really, really interesting because you don't know who to believe. You don't know what is fact and what is fiction. You don't know because they all have a colored history with Hope. What's going on? Like, who is the person killing them? Let's sneeze. Goodness gracious me, bless me. You don't know exactly what is going to happen with these characters, right? So you don't know who the killer is and who's going to be off next. You don't know, maybe someone's faked their death. It's constantly making you second guess who the murderer is. And I like that. I like a really good tension-driven novel that does that. That makes you second guess every single one of these characters, including the dead character. Because you're just learning about her through everyone else's perception of her and how they view their relationship with her. You're not getting her diary. You're not learning about her from her. You're learning about her through everyone else's colored vision of her. And that's very, very interesting. And I like it when a novel does that because it makes you second guess everything that's happening and it makes that tension. Like, they're trying to escape this house. They're trapped. There's no way out. The doors are sealed shut. The windows are impact proof. Someone is trying to kill them. Someone is knocking them off one by one. It reminded me a lot of Then There Were None when I was reading this book, and I love Agatha Christie. So that's probably the reason why I like this book, because it very much did give me And Then There Were None vibes. And in Then There Were None, one of the victims, the judge, was the one who was killing them all. And he even kills himself, you know? But here, you're wondering, okay, who is it? Like, are we really going... Are Then There Were None vibes, and is it one of these characters who fakes their deaths or who does kill themselves and then just orchestrates the deaths of all the other characters? Or is it someone from outside the house? Is the call coming from outside the house or is it coming from inside the house? Like, you don't know. And you cannot trust any of these characters. That's the thing. You cannot trust any of these characters. Some of them have really good motivations, but you cannot trust these characters at all. And I love that about the novel. That you can't trust any of them. Some of them are better than others. But it's really, really interesting to see. So, you know. I thoroughly enjoyed the book. I thought it was tension-driven. I love the nuances. I love how it does deal with social themes such as domestic abuse, domestic violence, and victim blaming as well, because they're blaming the girl who's abused for her own death, you know? And I like how it takes this look at society and it's just like, when do we stop protecting the golden boy? When do we actually just start being objective and looking at the investigation and be like, okay, the investigation itself will, if there's nothing there, the investigation will clear their name. But you have to do the due diligence, and you have to actually investigate. If the person's lying, okay, well then they're lying and you'll prove it. Truth will out, as I say. In any case, I thoroughly recommend the novel. I was constantly on my toes, second guessing every single character. Really enjoyed it. And on that note, check it out. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.